Where's he gone? Oh, there he is. Good afternoon and welcome back to The Blueprint with myself and the Sheikh. And we have a guest. He has arrived back. So the Sheikh is a guest and me and the guest also have a guest next to us. Big Steve. What are you saying, guys?
I'm all right. Yeah, sound. Just back from holiday. So back to the rain. You know the game.
Well, Steve, since you've been away, you've got a couple of sponsors, right? So the first one we'll talk on, OK Jersey. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, that's definitely a bit of you, that mate.
It's a Simpson shirt, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's so cool.
You ain't getting me in that.
Do you not? I think you could. Do you know what? They're embracing the Manchester weather.
I look like fucking Homer Simpson in that,
That's
mate.
why I'm calling it the Homer Simpson shirt.
But you like it better than our third kid this year?
You know what, right? I bought the third kit. It grew on me while I was in the shop. I bought it just because it had Turkey on the back in the green letters. And when I was on holiday this week in Dubai, I went to watch the game with the Dubai Supporters Club and I put it on. And it was that hot. The Turkey 10 on the back of my shirt stuck to me back. So I had to take it off. So it never got worn. Still not been worn.
And I got this one off of OK Jersey as well. Absolute classic. But then also, people, Match Bingo as well. Go and check them out. Use promo code. In fact, that says foul. Don't use promo code foul. Use promo code City. I need to change that to get an extra 200% on your deposit. So you deposit £5. And I've literally just had a go myself, right, on the first game, which was Wales v Uzbekistan. So you buy a couple of cards and I'm a winner. 125 quid. So just so you can see how it works, very simple. You get a bingo card. So that's like 3 substitutions for the home team. But yeah, I won. So proof is in the pudding. Steve, we've now got 35 quid in our pot. So you can jump on and have a go at that. But people, make sure you go and check them out.
We'll be millionaires.
Yeah. But right. Do you know what? I was saying to the Sheikh before you got backstage, Steve. Been a few negative shows recently, and I was looking forward to having a positive show. I think I've probably got the 2 right people on for a bit more of a positive show. But I haven't caught up with you really, Steve, since either of you two, since Brighton.
No. Well, I've just done my match reaction for Brighton and the transfer one, which is going to be out after this show. But the main reaction, I think what's getting to a lot of people is we started so well against Wolves and then we've ended up with 2 bad results against Tottenham and Brighton, which we did the same last season. And I feel like the fans are like, a lot of the younger ones are going into a meltdown. A lot of the older ones are trying to defend it, saying it's only 3 games, etc. And then you get the ones in the middle who don't really know what it's about. You know what I mean? There's a lot of plastic fans. And when the heat is on, plastic melts. And that's what's happening to a lot of them. They're melting. So I'm just trying to keep positive. Pep Guardiola, what he's done for the club, he does deserve this rebuild. So anyone that wants to Pep out, for me, I just think it's ludicrous. Because A, he's not getting out, and B, who is the out there to replace him? But don't get me wrong, I'm not condoning it because we ain't good enough at the minute. And taking a step back, looking at the squad that we've got, the squad levels don't look anywhere near a Manchester City elite squad that we've had over the last few years. So I'm looking at the squad depth, I'm looking at the people we've got playing, and I think a few of them are simply not good enough. And I think we're going to go through a bit of a tough patch, if I'm honest. We don't want to be getting to January again and having to throw another 200 million at it. But there's been a few mistakes, you know what I mean? The lack of a right back is a massive, massive mistake. So you're telling me the Manchester City Football Group, who've got scouts all over the world, cannot find or identify a right back we've got to play a midfielder that was signed from Wolves who is not good enough to be midfield, has to be our right back. We've got Rico Lewis coming in at right back in games, inverting into the middle of the pitch. He's clearly not good enough for Manchester City when the chips are down. We've also relying on us, John Stones, Nathan Ake, Ruben Diaz, Guardiola, 4 at the back, which, if they're fit, is okay, but guarantee you 2 out of the 4 at any one time are going to be carrying knocks. You know, got Kusanov, who we give a game to at weekend, who I thought was brilliant. Again, he's got a knock. And then you look all over the park, you're looking at the bench at weekend, you're looking for some inspiration, someone to come on and create something. We're bringing on Doku. And this is Jeremy Doku, by the way, who's had more than enough chances. You know what I mean? He's very up and down. He's not consistent. We've got Oscar Bob playing on the right, who's just come back from a season out, who's very much, you know, it's all potential with him. These teams like Arsenal and Liverpool have signed quality players across the park. If someone gets injured, the quality of the team doesn't drop. If Manchester City get injuries, if we lose Ruben Diaz, if we lose Rodri, or we lose Erling Haaland, we're not that same team. And this is how I want to know how it's got to this point where we had a team a few years ago where if anyone was out of the side, somebody came in and we kept the performance levels the same. At the minute, we've got the worst Manchester United team ever fucking assembled coming up in a few weeks' time. Everyone's shitting themselves, thinking we might get fucking beat. So that shows you what we're all thinking. So how Pep's not thinking that as well, I don't know. But I do get the ones that are having a meltdown, and I do get the ones that are trying to keep it calm. But all I'm going to say is we're 3 games in, and we need to fucking be positive and try and hopefully the players gel, you know?
Just a few things you said there, right? I just want to pick your brain on it, on the Pep thing, right? Because there's people that saying, there's some people that are saying to me, no matter what, in Pep we trust, and it will always be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Are you like that, or are you like he deserves? Because what you said there, I picked up on it. He deserves a chance to rebuild, but.
Listen, I'm not blind loyalty to Pep Guardiola. Yeah. The trophies and what we've achieved are absolutely fantastic. And the reason I'm not blind loyalty is we've seen the greatest managers of all time in the Premier League. Some of them have overstayed the welcome and ended up tarnishing the legacy. The last thing I want for Pep Guardiola at Man City is for him to stay too long and tarnish what he's done. So I think realistically, last season, he finished 3rd. We had injuries, etc., etc. We did well to finish 3rd, but we lost the cup final. So this season is a must to win something. If we get to the end of this season and we've had another season like last season, then I think in the board, there's got to be a conversation where we say, right, this just might be the time where we part ways. We thank you for what you've done, and we might have to move on to pastures new. Sometimes the football club can need freshening up because it can get a little bit repetitive and a little bit the same. It's like any workplace. You see factories who have got the same foreman for 8 or 9, 10 years, and the production levels are not the same. So they get rid of him and they bring somebody else in who's a little bit different with fresh ideas, and it sparks it. So for me, he's got this full season to see
You're giving him the full season,
if he can build a team back again, and B, whether he's still got the hunger and the fight that he had before. And that is what I don't want to question with Pep Guardiola, because he's the best in the world for me. But when you're looking at a squad like ours and you can't identify a right back, and you're persisting with players that aren't good enough, and you're giving chances to wingers that are not producing, when does it become a point where this is borderline? You're not thinking proper. When does somebody at the top have to say, "Hold on a minute, this isn't right"? So it's a tough season.
I think that's fair. I mean, I'm being honest. I'm probably being a bit harsher. That I said I'll make my stance after 10 games. I think the key is for me is I need to see that he's learning from mistakes from last year. Sheikh, where are you with the whole Pep thing? How long are you giving him?
For me, it's not a matter of how long. It's kind of just, I don't think I'll ever be Pep out, because I don't want to be that kind of fan, you know?
Yeah.
But I think everything Steve said is very valid in terms of very legitimate concerns and things we're all seeing. And any rational fan will say, we aren't good enough right now. The recruitment in the beginning of the window, and obviously January, there was good energy, very active. But what I keep going back to when I fluctuate between, you know, being overly reactive or negative and feeling like I need to be a better fan or, you know, whatever. I just, you know, everything that we talk about, it just tells me that it's not a matter of mentality or anything like that on Pep's end. I just don't think we're that good right now. You know, I think the desire is there, the plan is there, but when it comes to the right back position, we had Tino Livramento was number one. You know, then we were targeting someone like Santos or whatever that dude was from Brazil. I forget his name, Wesley.
Wesley.
Then yeah, and then but the thing is, like, you give Rico an extension, you pay $60 million for Nunez a year before. Do you just kind of discard him like you do with Calvin Phillips, or do you make use of that signing and try to make use of that? And I feel like the club and Pep and just as a collective, we're kind of in a weird purgatory zone where we are at the lowest we've been in a couple of years, and all the other teams are at a peak. And as you guys know, and when it comes to professional sports, it's peaks and valleys, comes and goes. And like our peak was the highest thing that probably we've seen in our lives, you know? And I don't think that's unfair to say. So if that trajectory is so high and went up so fast, the crash is going to be even more drastic. And that's kind of where we are right now. So for me, I think that what my honest opinion is that before Pep gets sacked or before there's an honest conversation with the board, I think that Pep is the one that's going to step forward and he's going to be like, look, I'm tired. And I honestly thought he was done last season. I didn't know if he was going to extend. He just looked exhausted, you know? But then when you look at signings like Donnarumma, you look at kind of like a succession plan that's being put in place, there are signs. There are very positive signs. And that's where I keep coming back to, where like you look at the Brighton game, you know, and we can talk more about that in a little bit. But the first half, Brighton had one shot on target, which is the fewest they've had at the MX in the past 10 years. Yeah. So like all this stuff is like, there's
these are the things that we need to hear that maybe at the moment, the minute the game's over, you forget to hear them. But these signs,
Of course. I guess.
Sorry, Sheikh. One thing that made me feel better, I messaged a couple of players on after the game against Brighton, and I basically said, what's going on? Like, you know what I mean? It's not looking good. You know, we thought we were past this. We played well at Wolves. You know, we got United next. There's going to be a meltdown. We need to stop it. And the response I got back, I'm not going to name the players because I know people want me to, but the response I got back was refreshing. So they said to me, look, we're as disappointed as you. We're not happy. We're coming home on the coach now, fuming. Pep's not happy. He demands more. We've trained really, really well, and we're just not putting the things that we're doing in practice into play. And he said, but let me tell you this. He said, let people talk. Let people criticize us. He said, because they won't be talking at the end of the season. And he said, now is the time for us all to be together. We've got Man United next and Arsenal. We need everybody on the same page, back in the team and the manager. Now, when a player's saying that to me, he didn't have to read my message and send me a message back. It was like they just had to get that off the chest. Now, it makes perfect sense. Now, I'm fully with the players and the team now because I'm thinking, you know what? They're not swanning off on international duty, not giving a shit. They're exactly the same as us. They want to win football matches. They've been winning for years and years and years. They understand our feelings. Some of them players are like fans. We have a good relationship, some of the fans with the players. They are quite good and open, and it's refreshing. Some players are superstars and they won't even talk to you. I'm quite fortunate that a few do have a little bit of banter with me and say certain things like, and I'm privileged to that. But we've got a big game coming up. It's Manchester United. Yes. And we've been sticking the boot into them bastards for the last 10 years. Now, last season was hard to take when they beat us because it was disgusting. The last thing we need now is to lose to Arsenal and Man United in the next few weeks because we've really got to put some performances in. And this is how quick football could turn around. If we go out and beat Napoli, then go and do United and then go and get a result at the Emirates, everything's forgotten about.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? No, but do you know what? There is truth in that. This is the thing, right? That like yesterday, I was doing a show with a few City fans, and you know, Hamza was saying City have got no fear factor. No one's scared of City anymore, right? And I heard that 3 weeks ago. Before a ball had been kicked, I heard the same thing. Daps, there's no fear factor anymore. But then I remember in between when we played Wolves and beat Wolves. And everyone, and remember, people, I don't just run this channel. I run Never a Foul, right, where I have rivals on. And that week, all I heard off of rivals is City are back. They look scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Right? So this is where right now things look really bad. But in the space of 3 weeks, we've gone to City aren't scary anymore, to City is scary as fuck, to no one's scared of City. And that is just what happens in football, right? And someone made a really good point in the comments. They were saying, look, Dap says, these players we've bought, no one's scared of them. And then someone made a really good comment. Can you not remember when we bought Kevin De Bruyne and we got fucking told that Kevin De Bruyne was not good enough and he was a Chelsea reject? That things do, and the valid thing is, you look at Reinders, he came from being player of the season in Italy. You look at De Bruyne, he came from being player of the season in Germany. So I do think we are being maybe a little bit reactionary, but at the same time, you know, I can't lie. That high line just is giving me nightmares. And the fact we didn't get a right back to sort that out, the fact that, you know, to be fair to Pep, we played Kuzanov. So maybe he is. Do either of you two think maybe Pep's doesn't know his best 11 at this point?
100%. Kuzanov and Stones played well. Kuzanov was there because of his pace, and Brighton didn't really threaten. As soon as Kuzanov went off and he changed it, he brought on Ruben Diaz and Rico Lewis. If you look at their last goal, Rico Lewis is nowhere to be seen because he's gone into midfield for something.
Yeah.
We've lost possession, and we're 4 against 3, and they've done us. The same happened against Al Hilal in the World Club Cup. We were absolutely comfortable, should have been 4-0 up in the first half. The second half, he takes off Josko Gvardiol and Nunes, brings on Ake and Akanji. The back four was slow as hell. They just pinged that long ball round the back of Ruben Diaz, and Malcolm, who was rapid, was onto it, and they destroyed us with pace. The problem with Manchester City is at the minute, and the fans, our treble-winning team was built on a solid foundation of defenders. You know what I mean? We used to sing best defense in Europe. We're Manchester City. We're on our way to Istanbul. We can't claim that anymore because the defense is not the best in Europe. It's looking more like a fucking championship defense at the minute because we're still pigeonholing players in there. We don't know where the best position is. 1 minute Cousinov's at right back, then he's at centre back, then Nunes is at right back. You've got Ait Naori at left back, then Nico O'Reilly's at left back, then Nathan Ake's at left back, then Guardiola's at left back, then he's at centre back. So do you understand what I'm saying? And then now we didn't even know who our number one goalkeeper is going to be till we still don't know. When we've signed probably the best goalkeeper in the world, Donnarumma. So then you're thinking, hold on, is Donnarumma going to bring this level of calmness to this defence? Because, you know, if you look at the spine of the team, Donnarumma, Rodri, Haaland, that's a fantastic spine of any team to build off. So I think we are right to be worried after last season, and I think a lot of fans are right to be worried. But I do think if you look at the actual base of the team, it's a solid base, and we've just got to get it right in other parts of the team. We can't be relying on a Jeremy Doku coming off the bench because he might do something. We need someone who's coming off the bench to do something. We used to have a Riyad Mahrez. You knew if Riyad Mahrez is coming off the bench, something's happening. Yeah. You know, Bernardo Silva in the early days, you knew if Bernardo was coming off the bench, there was energy, something was happening. Yeah. Now, it's literally like, who's going to change the game? Oh, Doku. But we all know he isn't going to change the game. You know what I mean? And this is the problem.
So there's two things. I think analogy that I used with a friend that I was speaking with on Twitter the other day was like, basically between the January window and the summer window, the entire squad has gotten, it's open heart surgery, basically. You know, I think they saw like one player from the treble team is left, and the entire team, not even just the starting 11, like the bench as well. You know, so like if you're talking about open heart surgery, it's like how fast do people recover from something that drastic? You know, there's a rehabilitation period, just like with Rodri. You know, he tears his ACL, he comes back. People were calling him Plodri. He was too slow. He wasn't athletic. He wasn't looking like his dynamic self. But given time, it'll hopefully click, and he'll be the Rodri that we know and we love. You know, so like, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with people being concerned, and it's understandable because it's frustrating, But I think that a little bit of nuance in terms of like how much the team has changed in the past 6 months since January, really, and where we are now in comparison to our competitors. It's like we kind of just have to ride this out. I think, Steve, you said in the beginning of the show that like we're gonna go through a rough patch, and I don't think there's any denying that. And it's just a matter of like how patient can we be. And I don't really have an answer for that. It's like I know the club has spent hundreds of millions of dollars since January, and it's like it's not like they're not trying. I just don't think that we can accelerate this process, and it's not over yet either. Like the rebuild isn't done. Like plenty of players are going to be leaving at the end of this season, whether it's John Stones, Bernardo Silva, a lot of expiring contracts. Ederson was potentially going to stay this season as well, and then the Donnarumma was kind of like a market opportunity once Ederson left. We were like, okay, we're going to hop on it. So it's like between Pep, the future of Pep being somewhat uncertain beyond like a year or two, and then the squad getting open heart surgery, and then another thing I wanted to say is that when we think about Mahrez and we think about Bernardo and we think about these world-class superstars, I think Daps, we talked about this on our last show, where like you look at Doku, you look at Savinho, you look at Bob, and like I don't think it's a hot take to say that these guys aren't as good as those guys were. But I also think that there needs to be some realization that they're much younger. They're not supposed to be them yet. They're just not them yet. So it's like maybe we lack that world-class signing that can kind of bridge over the gap. But that's kind of what Reinders is, because he doesn't fit into that lower age developmental. He's an established player, midfielder of the year in Serie A, and he came over, and we maybe should have signed like maybe one or two more of those kind of established players to kind of bridge this gap. But if you look at Donnarumma, you look at Reinders, you look at Nori, I guess, it's like some of these guys were meant to come in and start from day one. And most of the guys in January, even like Husanov, like he's a phenomenal player. He's so fast. He has so many strengths. But towards the end of the game, he started making mistakes. He started making mistakes. And so like we have this gap between aging stars and then younger players who just aren't there yet, and that gap needs to close. There's no timeline on that. We just have to wait.
Do you know, I said this on a show yesterday that what we, and Sheikh, you just touched on it earlier on, what we achieved in the last 8 years, you could go as far as saying no one else has achieved it in English football, right?
Yeah.
There's only one other team that has been as dominant as we have been for those 8 years. And you could say that's Man United. They didn't do 4 in a row. They did 3 in a row, right? Now, when you look at what it takes to achieve that level of domination, there is a reason why. You can go and look at the Chelsea period when Chelsea were considered a great under Mourinho and then under Ancelotti, and the amount of money that they spent, right? And even then, they did not hit the pinnacle that we hit. The reason is that sometimes things just come together perfectly, right? And if you look at that age of our squad during that period, I do think the age of our squad was impeccable. If you looked at the balance of it, we had the perfect balance, I feel, along with also, when you sign players, sometimes signings work, sometimes they don't. Things went in our favor. Now, I've seen LB's in the chat. Hold tight, LB. I saw LB mentioning the other day, who kind of went on a bit of a rant about Khaldoon, right? And I have to agree with him in a way, right? That maybe Khaldoon has taken his eyes off the ball a little bit. There's one thing that Khaldoon said. I think it was a season that it was a season, 100-point season, right? And he said that previous times that we've won the league, the summers that followed, we've taken our eyes off the ball and we've gone and bought squad players. We haven't gone and bought best in class, right? And when you win a league, everyone else is playing catch up. So if you just buy squad players, you allow everyone else to catch up with you. And for a few years, I think he stuck to that. But I do feel like for 2 summers, not this summer, but for 2 summers, maybe we did drop the ball a little bit and kind of got a bit complacent. And now we are having to play catch up. Now, if you look at this transfer window, it has been difficult for us because of the fact that at the moment, we have got players like John Stones, for example. I think it's pretty obvious from that probably in an ideal world, we probably would have moved John Stones on this summer. But the contract he's on, it's difficult. And again, someone's saying we should have brought in a right back. But if we hadn't got rid of players, and remember, we had 2 players leave on the last day of the transfer window. If we hadn't have got rid of those, there wouldn't have been space to bring players in. So I do think that, unfortunately, and it's the club's fault that the club maybe haven't managed the age of players, the contracts. They've taken their eyes off the ball a little bit. But it's meant that you can't just turn this around in 2 transfer windows. It is going to take a few transfer windows.
What's happened is Man City Football Club has always been very, very good under this new regime of replacing players at the right time. If you look at the players that we've lost over the years, David Silva, Joe Hart, Aguero, Company, Yaya Toure, Raheem Sterling, Leroy Sané, these players have come out of the team, all elite players, and we've still managed to A, win the league, and B, win trophies and compete, because the players they've brought in and identified have slotted in the squad, and the conveyor belt has just carried on going and going and going. What happened the last time we won the league is, I think Pep thought the team was better than what it was, because we came right at the death and we won that league. And he thought, you know what? These players, Kovacic, Gundo, all these players, whatever, we've not got a bad squad here. We don't need a lot of tinkering. When in reality, we did. And out of probably the last 8 or 9 transfer windows, like what people are saying, we did drop the ball on one. And the problem is, if you drop the ball on one and it's an important one, you're scrambling, because if you're signing £200 million worth of players in January, there's a fucking problem. Someone's made a mistake somewhere, because Manchester City don't do that. Because if you sign in players in January, I think Cheeky said it years ago, someone's made a mistake. And
it's like a last ditch effort, kind of.
Yeah, and we made a mistake because we didn't expect the Rodri injury, but let's get it right. We should have had a Rodri deputy in the wings waiting in case that happened, because they flogged Rodri to death for 3 seasons, playing 60-odd games, and he was a soldier, and then he finally got injured. When we signed Rodri, we were doing the same to Fernandinho, but we had Rodri in the background. And then when Fernandinho's legs started to go, Fernandinho slotted into the background, Rodri went into the midfield, and Fernandinho was that man who came on and ticked it over every now and then. We've got nobody can do that. We signed Calvin Phillips, and everybody thought Calvin Phillips, player of the year with England, he's going to come in, he's going to shadow Rodri. When Rodri needs a break, 20, 30 minutes, Calvin Phillips come in the midfield, break up the play and all that. Didn't work. We've still got Calvin Phillips sat there, who we gave a 5-year contract to. That's a big mistake. And like you say, so LB and the boys are right. We are punishing from it. It does lie with the manager and the board. But I feel like Pep had that much power. If he was to go to Khaldoon and say, I think we're all right this season, we don't need any players, I don't think Khaldoon's going to question that. I mean, I wouldn't question that. If my manager won all them trophies and said to me, Steve, I don't need any players this summer, I'd probably say, no problem, that's on you. But it backfired. But, you know, we are playing catch-up. And like you say, the level of squad now, the quality of the squad, looking around it, it's nowhere near where it needs to be.
Do you know what I said earlier on, and I think this is worrying, that for me at the moment, when I look at defensively, and I'm going to keep going on about the high line, I know probably there's 2 things that everyone's bored of hearing about, probably the high line and right back, right? But playing that high line, and we've got United in 8-9 days. I'm sat here now saying, if Kuzanov isn't in that starting lineup, we're in trouble, right? Now, just think about what I've said there, right? As a Man City fan, that's a worrying place to be. I'm putting that on Kuzanov, who's 21 years old and unproven at this point. But I'm saying without him, I'm really, really worried, because Pep's not going to drop that line any deeper. And like, there's one point where the ball got played over the top on Sunday, and it was so refreshing seeing a centre-back that just calmly dealt with it, right? Kuzanov. But I just, and this is the mad thing, right? That I do think in a year's time, I think Juma Bar will probably come back. So far from what I don't know if anyone's seen Vitor Hayes, but Vitor Hayes has looked, I mean, I watched his best bits against Seville, and he had a really good game. That so far, it does look like we've got some young defenders there that are going to come good, but it does seem a long way away at the moment because Ake looks so different at the moment. He doesn't look, he looks like an older player who's had quite a few injuries. His legs are going a bit, and that's what worries me at the moment. But I think without Walker and Ake, if you think back 2-3 years ago, we had Walker on the right-hand side, that any balls over the top, Walker would mop up. Or even if not, Ake had pace in him as well. Ake was fast. So you had those two that could deal with it. Whereas at the moment, I don't know, I worry against Man United, me. Really, really do.
Let me ask you guys a question. So, like, obviously, the board deserves a lot of blame. And, Pep maybe thought that we were stronger than we were. But at the same time, things that we didn't factor for. Phil Foden winning Player of the Year and then falling off a cliff the next year.
Yeah.
Rodri winning the Ballon d'Or, tearing his ACL, being out for the entire year. Things like this. And when you look at the DM position, I feel like we didn't do a good job of addressing it, but it's not for lack of effort. We signed Calvin Phillips. It didn't work out. We tried to go for Declan Rice. It didn't work out. And then we panic bought Mateus Nunes, which probably wasn't the best idea. But again, just to play devil's advocate, I feel like we have had years where everything went our way so that we could pull out these titles at the last second. And then the past year or two or season or two, it's like everything that can go wrong with injuries and signings and the transfer window, it's like we just weren't lucky. There was we lacked that little bit of luck to get us the right player over the line. Maybe it's ambition. I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of both, which is, fucking terrible if you put it that way. It's like something needs to go right, So I don't know. I love that we brought in Nico. I think I wrote this article last January about, rebuilding the midfield. And then when you talk about the treble team and how good our defense was, a big reason why our defense was so good was because we had prime Rodri, prime Gundogan, and prime KDB in the middle ahead of them, just running the show. And now who do we have? Rodri, he's still Rodri, but he's rehabilitating. He needs to get his legs up. Then we don't really know who the best third midfielder is. Is it Bernardo? It's like people don't really know. Some people say he doesn't pass forward.
People wanted Bernardo out last season.
I know.
That's get rid of the Unks.
That's so crazy to me. So we got rid of the Unks, now and now we're rolling with Nico Gonzalez, who's a great dueler, but isn't really a natural six in the Pep sense yet.
No,
if you look at how he wants to carry the ball, he's one of the best early days in the season, but statistically he has one of the highest carry rates in the entire league, and you can't have that from your defensive midfielder. And it's because he's used to playing as an 8, as he did for Porto. He's used to going forward. So how do you reconfigure those instincts? And that takes time. Especially, remember when Rodri first started, people called him Rodrizontal. There's this guy sucks. So I think a lot of things can be true. I don't think anything that we've said so far isn't true. It's we aren't good enough. We need to improve. The floor level of the squad has to get higher. The floor level is so low right now. And it's the gap between our starters and then the rest of the players, it's a chasm, And I don't really know how you fix that in 1 or 2 windows. It takes some time.
It doesn't help when you see Jack Grealish go on loan to Everton and do exactly what we all knew he was going to do. Enjoy his football and play totally different. And why they're sending Echeverri on loan to fucking Bayer Leverkusen, who sacked the manager after 2 games? Why are they even sending him to Ten Hag anyway? The guy's a fucking idiot. So he wouldn't have been getting any of my players. And like you say, we look at the bench at weekend. You're looking for a spark. Surely to God, an Echeverri should have been. I know we struggle with the foreign quota, but an Echeverri it gives you something different. We've seen him come on. He's lively. We've got Carabao Cup games coming up. We've got Champions League games at home. We're going to need a spark, especially now Cherky's injured. They knew Cherky was injured. So it's a bit strange. Vitor Reyes has gone to Girona again, but he's a young centre-back with legs. He's always looked comfortable for me when he's come on and played. I'm not saying he starts, but I'm saying in games when you need options, at weekend, our substitutions for me killed us. We should be bringing on a Rico Lewis near the end and start inverting him in midfield. We should be bringing on defenders to either keep the game at the draw or go and snatch it, but keep it solid. Brighton made 4 subs. They send City, we can get at them here. And they made 4 subs and went for it, and it paid off. Exactly what they did last season. And it's just frustrating, like you say, from a lot of fans at the minute. We're not used to these crisis talks. We're always usually pretty calm, but it's happening, and we've got to deal with it, and hopefully Pep can sort it out.
Yeah. Do you know what? You're right. At the weekend, I don't know how it's got to this, but looking at the bench just wasn't good enough. And you are right, Steve, to bring Echeverri on, because he did look good in the summer. So I have a feeling Vitor Hayes is going to end up being called back as well. I think we're going to end up getting injuries, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being called back by January.
Who's injured right now? It's Foden, Guardiola. Who's Turkey?
But some of these injuries, I'm not sure of, because for example, I do feel like one or two of them might be players just kind of looking at the international game. I'm pretty certain, as an example, that Kuzanov's Uzbekistan, I'm pretty certain it's not a qualifier, right? That their games aren't qualifiers. So I do think some of them are probably players, and maybe Pep putting his foot down and saying, look, right now, no. For once, no, don't go to international. Like if it's a qualifier and it's an important game, I get it. But otherwise, right now, we need you here. We need you here. We need you to get your fitness back so that we're going into this. Because come on, we've got Man United, Napoli, Arsenal, right? It's a difficult run of games. So I mean, Foden, we don't exactly know what's wrong with Foden, do we?
He got hit on the ankle, right? In the last time he played.
Yeah,
it's like
again,
paper mache. It's terrible. Well, let me ask you a question. If we get these players back, right? We get Foden back, Cherki back, we get Savinho back. You know, it's like, do you guys think that the result of the Brighton game would have been different? And moving forward, do you feel more positive about our results?
I just feel like offensively, what we've seen again in the pre-season and against Wolves, we did look like we had a lot of options when everyone's fit. But there's always that niggling thing in the back of your mind that the defence is going to cost us. And hopefully Donnarumma will bring a presence different. What gets me, what makes me laugh as well, last season City fans were saying, we've got to get rid of Ederson. We need a goalkeeper that can actually be a goalkeeper, right? A goalkeeper that can actually save it, can shot stop it, can win this, can win that, win that. So we've gone out there, and got the best goalkeeper in the world, in my opinion, who's a all-round goalkeeping is top-notch, shot stopping, presence, penalty saves, everything like that. And now guess what they're saying? Oh, he's not good with his feet. It's not good with his feet. So you literally can't fucking win. So if he was good with his feet, he'd be the greatest goalkeeper the world has ever seen, ever. But at the end of the day, he's not good with his feet. But all-round goalkeeping-wise, Donnarumma brings us a big presence. And years ago, Man United used to have a goalkeeper called Schmeichel. Yeah. And at the end of the day, Schmeichel was all about presence. Yeah. People in the tunnel used to look across and think, you know what? If we beat these today with him in net, we've done well. And I
noticed you're not mentioning this period when I noticed you're not mentioning the period when he was our keeper, Steve, because there's no one looking at him there. But you are right. I also think with Donnarumma, people have gone too far on this like this. He can't kick, or he's rubbish.
Let me ask you this, Last season, when Paris Saint-Germain won the treble and then they won the Champions League final, if after that Champions League final, at the end, it would have come on Sky Sports breaking news that Manchester City have signed Donnarumma from Paris Saint-Germain, the whole fucking Man City fan base would have been in the street, the vuvuzelas going fucking mad. We've signed the best goalkeeper in the world, and everyone would have gone, wow, what a signing. So what's changed? What's changed? Donnarumma is an immense goalkeeper. Goalkeeper.
He is. And someone said to me about if we look at the last two results, would they be different with Donnarumma in? And firstly, let me be clear. I do not want to shit on Trafford, right? Because I think Trafford was good against Brighton, and I think he was good against Wolves. Tottenham, he had an absolute stinker, right? The second goal, do I think that goal will have happened with Donnarumma in goal? No, I don't, because I think Donnarumma would have just gone long. There's no way Donnarumma would have played that into Gonzalez. He would have just booted the ball long.
I'm just saying, man, Ederson has done that same exact mistake before. Yes, it happened. Yeah. It happens. And with Trafford, it's like you give him like that little bit of handicap where like, he's new and whatnot. You saw his face after he did it.
Yeah.
You know, he was like, fuck. You know, like he knows. And for a young player like that, at least for me, I'm okay with a couple of mistakes in the beginning. It's just a matter of how fast can you turn it around. And he ended the game with 2 saves, you know? So like maybe it's like saved his game. I don't know.
I think the other thing that I'd take from it is, from the minute Trafford started in goal for us, I did think, do you know what? It does feel a little bit like he's really overemphasizing the playing out from the back thing, right?
Mm.
But at the same time, I also like that even though once or twice it didn't go well for him, he didn't go and change everything. Because I think that's where keepers go really wrong, where something goes bad and they change their whole style of football. I actually think, though, if you look at the Brighton game, it did look like he calmed down with the play him out from the back. And 1 or 2 of his long balls forward were really, really good. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll see much Trafford for a while. I hope that we see Trafford in cup games. I hope he's given the cup games. But you are right. Look, Donnarumma, even if it's just on set pieces, he's an absolute man mountain. And I think he'll help to relax the defenders a little bit more. But Savio's back in training today. What are your thoughts on Savio now that he's staying? Well, I mean, for me, I'm saying he must be given a chance on the left. But do you think there's a chance of that, or do you think Pep's just going to stick with
I'd like to see Savio and Bob. I think that's probably refreshing, like you say on the left. It's just mad because Savio and Doku have been very, very frustrating for us. You know what I mean? And it is frustrating to watch. Sometimes you can see there's a player in there. You see him do some great things. Then you see him probably shoot when he should pass, and then when he should pass, he probably, he shoots. It's mad stuff to watch, but he's only young, and like you say, and anywhere else, he's shadowing somebody. Yeah. If we've got a Riyad Mahrez now, and we've got Savinho on the bench, and we're bringing him on with 20 minutes to go because Mahrez is knackered, I'm happy with that because that's good. But at the end of the day, he's our main guy. We're looking at him now to deliver now, and the question is, can he deliver now? Because Jeremy Doku, end of last season, he came on near the end of the season. He started to look like he was finally delivering. He was impacting games off the bench, and we were getting points. And then you see him this season, and to me, even at Wolves when he started, he just looked very same. He does that little step over. He jinks. The fullbacks are studying him. They know what he's going to do. He's either running into players or the crosses are going 60 foot in the air over everyone's head. And we've said it before that we've seen Haaland, when you're at the game, cutting a frustrated figure and kicking off and mentioning to Pep that he's making runs and these players ain't putting the ball where they need to. Apparently, they've got some link up now. Doku and Haaland have had this special link up.
Well, Torres had him doing a chant or something. Yeah, I've seen that. Sorry, just got a couple of super chats quickly. So apologies, I hadn't seen them. One from Paolo, who's saying, how can you buy best in class when they're already in the club? During the treble, we could only get squad players after the 4 in a row. We could only get squad players. After the 4 in a row, we should have been more aggressive, but we weren't. Great show, appreciate it. I mean, come on, I hear what you're saying about best in class, but there were other best players we could have got out and got there. Shout out to Riku FC, who's become a member for a month. Appreciate it, bro. And this is for Big Steve because he's a sound bloke. There we go. I must be shit. Can I just address? Well, I just want to address something. There was someone in the comments earlier that was moaning about the fact that I have had what he calls
an agenda
content creators on here that have got agendas and that have been negative on some players. Look, the whole thing of this channel is not just for it to be an echo chamber of everyone saying the same thing. So there is a reason why I do have some people on this channel. It's because they have different opinions to me and Steve. They have different opinions to Sheikh. I'm not ever going to, like Steve and I, we discuss who comes on this channel. We're never going to make this channel about just being positive all the time, because that just is not the way it is. So if there are people that have different opinions, they will be on the channel. Look, if you don't like the shows with them, I appreciate that and go and watch a different show, but we're not going to start only having players on that literally fucking glaze every single player. We can't do that. It's not realization. And by the way, one thing I know is that's not good for my mental health either. I need people to bring me down to earth slowly, right? Not just bring me, not make me think everything's great when it isn't.
Dan Levy left Spurs?
Yeah, I've just seen this.
What the heck?
That is mad, you know.
That's crazy.
I think that's a bad thing, me. If you're a Spurs fan, you're probably happy. But for me, I want Spurs to stay the way they are. I don't want them to start actually spending money.
Can we maybe get some of their players now? Is that an option?
Who would you take? Who would you take from Spurs then?
I'd take Kulusevski, man, if he's fit.
Yeah,
you know?
If he can stay fit, I agree with you.
Take Spence, man. We need a right back.
I got pelters for that.
Van der Ven.
Hold on, Steve. Would you as well? Because I was saying all summer that I'd go in for Spence, and people were saying nah to Spence, but I was thinking Spence would have been a good shout for us.
Yeah, he would have been so good.
Yeah, and Van der Ven's good if he can keep fit.
Yeah.
I'd take Archie Gray too. You know,
you know what? Yeah, you're right. Van der Ven with our high line. Yeah, you're right. Van der Ven would be good. So, United, I guess. What is it? I asked a couple of people this last night. What are things you want to see against Manchester United, Sheikh?
Twat.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's we keep it simple.
The end.
I want to fucking win, you know. But most importantly, I feel like I just want to see us come.
You've gone on mute. Steve, can you hear me?
No, I can hear you. I can't hear you.
Yeah, you can hear me. Yeah.
Am I good?
Yeah, you're good now. Yeah.
Sorry, I think my headphones just died. I want to see us come out and play and like a comprehensive, full game. I don't want us to do a tale of two halves where we look good and we have opportunities, but we can't convert them, and then they end up scoring some fluke goal in the second half, and then we're all pissed off. You know, I feel like what I said before about moments and there being good signs. We have an international break. Okay, let's say that Wolves, Brighton, and Tottenham, let's say that they were our first three friendlies, you know, for the conversation. Now, at least in my opinion, there's no room for grace. There's no like, oh yeah, like they're just no, like this is when you need to step up, and this is when you need to show that, you know, all the money that the fucking club has invested and like all the talk, you know, like enough talking, you know, let's get the shit together. And I feel like United, they're not good. So like there's no excuse anymore. Like Tottenham, Thomas Frank, Brighton, they're bogey teams, you know, like there's a little bit of argument that can be made, but I don't want to see any excuses being made for this next game, you know? Yeah,
I hear it.
We need to put it on them. End of the day, we need to put it on them. They just lost to Grimsby. They just beat Burnley in the last minute. They think they've got some sort of moral victory because they're a fucking 1 point ahead of us in the league, and they haven't finished above us for the last 12 years. So we just need to get stuck into them, make the Etihad horrible, and just come away with a win. I don't care, because last year was hanging the way they won that game. It was hard to take, so we need to win it, man.
Yeah. And the sad thing is that right now, I know it's not as many games, but we're going into it kind of similar to the way we went into that game. Because at that point, when we played them in December at the Etihad, we went into it in bad form. They were in bad form, and this is what worries me at the moment. Of what I'm seeing is that, and this is where I do think we need to, you know, we need to speak more about than just the defence, that we're going into games and we're going 1-0 up, but we're struggling to get a second. And it seems to be a bit of a thing with the team that if you can get City to the 60th minute with them, even if City are winning by 1 goal, if you can get City within 1 goal touching distance, 60th minute, score 1 goal, will crumble. Now, there is some context to that at the weekend. I think it didn't help it certainly didn't help the Kuzanov injury. I think if Kuzanov was on that pitch, Brighton didn't get that second goal. I think he would have stopped that. But I don't know. I mean, I presume Rodri's going to start. Actually, let me ask you a question. What were you two's thoughts of Rodri against Brighton?
I don't think he did that bad.
I thought he was good.
He's not match fit. Yeah. He's not match fit.
I thought the difference between him and some other players was how the fact that he one touch passing. and he moves the ball a lot quicker.
You just can't pressure him. You know, he doesn't. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't need to move fast or be explosive to be good. He can take one side step. His awareness is just the head on a swivel. It's just the fact that he can do that, and like we're crying out for dual winners and this and that. It's like Rodri is a prime example of like you don't need to be some. Yeah, he's big and he's a big guy, but he doesn't need to use his size and his strength to be good. Like and like the passes and the way that he lived with his teammates, he was Rodri, you know. In that sense.
Yeah, you know? I agree with you. That was the thing for me. I actually think Rodri for me. I mean, people say Trafford and Kuzanov were probably. I think a lot of people said Trafford and Kuzanov were their best players. I actually think Rodri might have been our best player without having to naturally look like our best player, because it was just everything he did was just so easy. Just very. Yeah.
What do you think of Marmoush?
Right. So, I had a lot of people say that Marmoush looked very sharp, right? And I do agree with you. However, there's a few instances, and I get stuck on little instances, and there was a couple of instances where Marmoush failed to release the ball quick enough for me. He tried to do too much. Like a couple of times where I just thought, like, there was one time where Bob overlapped him. He should have put Bob in, and he actually got a second chance to put Bob in and still chose to turn inside. And it was like, bro, sometimes be less selfish. And that's what's made me actually think, for me, Marmoush is like, because I've been saying play Marmoush off the left. I'm now at the point where, and someone just said it there, he's not a touchline winger. For me, Marmoush should... I want to see Marmoush and Haaland through the middle together. Like, I mean, I'm asking something I'm probably never going to see under Pep Guardiola, but I would like to see Haaland and Marmoush together.
It's a fair shot. I mean, I feel like there's a little bit of shades of Julian Alvarez.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, the lack of touch, but the energy, you know, the pace, the pressing, like he's everywhere. You know, the way that I kind of look at Marmoush is like his sense of tempo. He has no awareness of when he needs to slow things down or speed things up. It's like he plays too fast or too slow. It's just the opposite of what he needs to be doing, you know? But like Alvarez, he's kind of like a chaos player where he kind of just goes around, running around, and like something tends to happen.
And he presses. That chaos is great with the pressing. He does press really, really well. I see, for me, Marmoush is one of these ones that's difficult for me, because I feel like I have to shoehorn Marmoush into this team, because I think Marmoush needs to be a starter. I've said it before, look, you can't drop Haaland with the number of goals he's scoring, but at the same time, the only way I think Marmoush can play off the left is if we are allowing Ait-Nouri to really get forward, right? If Ait-Nouri is being allowed to really get down that left-hand side, and then Marmoush can come inside, I think that works. But I hate to say, I mean, right, let's talk finally centre-backs. What are we doing? So for me, I've said it, I think Kuzanov, if he's fit, has to start.
I don't think Pep knows what his best combination was. If I had everyone fit, mine would be Ruben Diaz and Gvardiol. But
still not Kuzanov for his pace.
No.
Would you play Kuzanov at right back?
Yes.
Right. So, what about you, Sheikh?
I don't like Kuzanov at right back. I think.
Do you prefer Nunes at right back though?
I don't prefer any of them. I prefer we buy fucking someone else, you know. But like, given who we have, I understand the shouts, like the pace and all of that. But the one thing that I noticed was that Kuzanov on the ball is just not there yet. He's kind of a liability, and he tends to use his pace a little bit more than he should when he's trying to carry the ball. Kind of gets in trouble. He's a great defender, but I just don't think that. I don't think that he has like an attacking sense from the flanks, you know. And
I agree with you, but is that at the moment when we keep being caught out at the back, is that not something that we just say, do you know what, we allow one of the more attacking players to do that?
You're right. The problem is like everywhere that we try to make a sacrifice, it opens up a hole somewhere else. Like the squad is imperfect right now.
Yeah,
so like,
I agree. Yeah.
If you're asked, I would be willing to play Kuzanov there because of the pace and defense, but then like he's not an overlapping fullback. You know,
he's not. No,
when we won the treble, when we won the treble, we had 4 centre backs right across the back 4. They didn't need to really go and overlap. It's a case of just give the ball to the man in front. And I'd be willing to sacrifice an overlapping fullback to basically just say, if you're playing Savinho in front of you or Bob in front of you, I'd be saying, as soon as Cousinov gets the ball, look for Bob. You don't have to go and overlap him. Give it Bob. Let Reinders, Cherky, Rodri, Bob, Savinho, Mamouche, whoever's playing in there, do the donkey work. We just got to keep it solid at the back because we're conceding too many goals and getting caught. And that's what I think we need to do for the next few games. Make sure we're not conceding goals. You know what I mean? If it starts from the back for me, we've got to build it from the back.
Do you think that the pace is more important, or would you potentially be open to seeing someone like John Stones?
I think pace. I think other teams are building squads now with a lot of pace and a lot of physicality and a lot of power. We've seen it with Tottenham, and I feel like we need to know how to combat that. I think John Stones is a player when we're going to bully a team, he can come into midfield, overload the midfield, play, and keep the ball moving. I think that's perfect. When we're playing a team that's going to fight us toe for toe, we need to make sure we're covered because we're going to soak up a little bit of pressure. And I feel like at the minute, if I'm an opposing coach and I'm looking at this Manchester City team, I'm looking for them balls in and around Ruben Diaz over John Stones' head, or I'm targeting Ait Naori who gets out of position, or I'm waiting for City to bring Rico Lewis on and saying, as soon as he goes into midfield, press him, get the ball off him, and then it puts teams like 4-on-3 or 3-on-2 against us. You know what I mean? And that's what we need to stop, I think.
Yeah, I see. For me, it would be one of those ones where by playing Cousinov at right back, it would allow Ait Nouri at left back to get further forward. Right, so so ultimately, what you'd pretty much be doing is you'd say front 3, Marmouche, Haaland, and let's say Marmouche, Haaland, and Bob. Right, so on the left-hand side, the width is coming from Ait Nouri getting further forward, and Marmouche is coming in and sitting alongside Haaland. On the right-hand side, the width is coming from Bob, and Cousinov is pretty much tucking in alongside the 2 centre backs, just to make us a bit stronger at the back.
Well, time will tell, but we'll see this Man United game, I think.
Yep, 100%. Leonard, I've just seen your comment. Daps, looks like we don't know each other, but a very good friend of mine who is a true City fan got blocked on your channel. Leonard, before the stream ends, if you mention his name, and I'll have a look, because when people are saying I'm blocking someone, I've had this conversation quite a few times. As you can see from this show, I'm concentrating on speaking. I'm not blocking anyone. The mods might have. So if you let me know their names, I will go and have a look and I'll find out why they've been blocked. And then if they've been blocked for no reason, I will remove the block. And to mods, remember, only block people if they are saying something personal. Don't block them for having a different opinion, please. Right. People, this is going to redirect over to Steve's channel, so stay put where you are. This is going to go over to Steve's channel where he's just done an upload talking about Brighton and talking about the transfer market. Sheikh, really appreciate you coming on. Hopefully, well, next time we speak, in fact, will be before the derby. Let's say, hopefully, by that point, John Stones has not got injured yet.
Oh, my God, please.
And people will be back tomorrow morning, hopefully with Martin, Alan, and the other Mancunian Way boys. And for anyone that doesn't know, I think Erling Haaland's probably playing right now. I think it's Norway v Finland, isn't it? So,
yeah.
Yeah, if you want to go and give that a watch, give that a watch. Until then, we're out. Peace.
See you guys.